just being built and occupied.
Anyway, so here we are. We're live now. Sorry. This is Brisbane Small Business, and isn't Brisbane a really small place? It's really amazing. We just found out that we're living around the corner from each other. And now that Mike's found out, he's moving away.
Yeah, but I'm coming back, Kevin, so...
So we got Mike Haines with us. Mike Haines loves video. He's got Haynes Video Production, is that right? Or is it Mike's Video?
Right. Yeah, Haynes Video Production.
He's also got a business called Top Nosh. He honed his video skills. He's always had a love for photography and video. He's honed his video skills using Top Nosh as his guinea pig. Has had so much success, and I've got to say, Top Nosh has absolutely done embarrassingly well through COVID, and he's almost apologetic about that. Shouldn't be. It's because you've done an amazing job of getting your message out there. You're helping people, and that's an amazing thing. And now you're looking to help people with video. Absolutely,
yeah. Yeah, I'd love to.
I think that's a good introduction. So, Mike, Haynes Video Production, why is video even important?
Well, apart from actually showing up and knocking on somebody's door and doing the old elbow tap with them nowadays and saying hello and talking to them about your products and service and all the rest of it, we just haven't got the time or the resource or the dollars for that nowadays. Hey, video would be the second best thing to do to showing up. It's a really great way of making that human connection. And let's face it, most people that are buying, they're buying from other people. They don't buy from businesses. They buy from the people that run those businesses. And Kevin mentioned Top Nosh. I've had people come to the door and say, "Oh, are you Mike?" And they kind of like know you. They know you because they've seen you on a video. And it's happened to me so many times now that I just go, "Oh yeah, did you see the latest video?" Or, "Oh yeah." And so you've got that no trust and like, that sort of process that people go through. It gets just shortened so much by really good videos, but they're not.
And I'll give you my example of that same, and I agree with this because, like, I walked into Brisbane Small Businesses Cook and Chat Network. Hey, Carol, how are you going? I walked into a Brisbane Small Business Cook and Chat Network yesterday, and there's a few new people in the room, and yet they've all gone, "Hi, Kevin," and I'm going, "This is kind of a bit unfair. You know who I am, and I'm sure I've been talking to you in different ways, but because they see my face, they know who I am."
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So straight away, the old name and the face combination. It's just such a powerful tool to build and get over all that cold stuff that happens at the very beginning of a good human relationship. So.
Absolutely. Like, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and let's face it, a video is 1,000 pictures. So, so from that point of view, it really accelerates that process, which is absolutely fantastic. As you were saying, people relate your brand and your personality, and it personalizes the brand so much. So there's really good benefits there. And also social media, correct me if I'm wrong, but have you noticed how much they're promoting video over all the other stuff?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you just have to have a look at the stats that have just gone crazy over the last 2 or 3 years, and video is just one of the things that the platforms really love. And at the end of the day, Facebook's just wanting you to get people onto Facebook and stay there. And if there's something on there that will keep them there, then they're going to promote that and put that higher up in their search and in people's feeds.
Absolutely. When I did the JobKeeper video with an accountant about a week ago, that had close to, between the different platforms we put on, that had close to 1,000 views within a day, which was absolutely amazing. Not all the videos do quite that, we can't promise that, but they generally do get 250, 300 views within a pretty short period of time, which is absolutely fantastic. So where would you put video?
Well, it's a really good question, that. And at the end of the day, I guess you've made this video, it's great, you're really happy with it, you're ready to do something with it. And, there'd be a temptation, wouldn't there, to put it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram stories, the whole lot. But at the end of the day, you really just want to put the video where your prospective customers are or where your existing customers are. So, and that sort of like begs the question, well, how do you find that out? Which is a whole different topic, I guess. But at the end of the day, you really just want to put your content where your customers are or your prospective customers. And that's the simple answer to that question.
Absolutely. So wherever your customers are, that's where your video should be. Look, it is good if you can find a primary spot and share it from there rather than organically putting it into 7 different places all at the same time. However, there's no wrong answer, right? It's better when it's out there than not.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't get a great following on LinkedIn, for instance. I've only really just started putting videos on there, and you get 1 or 2 people interested in what I do. But, you know, that's a very limited market for us, so that doesn't really work too well. It's Facebook that we get the most engagement, and when I go on there and I talk right from the heart about something that's happened in the business or, you know, the current situation with COVID, nobody really cares, I have to say, about the quality of the sound and the light and all the rest of it, because they're just concerned about whether their parents are going to get their meals that week, and they're really prepared to listen and interact with you. So if you can do stuff that comes straight from the heart, that's always the one that's going to catch people.
Absolutely. And that's why I love talking to you, because I know that you're so passionate about the people that you serve and everything else. So you've got 5 tips to help people do great videos, even with their mobile camera. You don't have to get all, you know, hot and sexy about this. All you have to do is, you know, take the videos. So what's number 1? Movement. What do you mean by movement?
Okay. So if you're doing, let's say, a product video and you've got some footage of, I don't know, a meal or a pair of shoes or something, let me just put my movement one down for a minute. Look, you know, if it's static and nothing's really happening and it starts to look like a photograph, and I have to say, a lot of the real estaters, you know, they do a video, but it's actually just a slideshow of the photographs. It really isn't movement. If you can get some movement happening in your footage, then it makes it that much more engaging and that much more interesting to watch. Now, there's good and bad movement, okay? So if I start wiggling around with my camera here and shaking things, that's really bad movement. The good movement is when you can get that kind of like buttery smooth movement from your camera from side to side, panning up and down, and it really can be quite easy. You don't have to get too technical with it. I shot some footage coming out of Brisbane on the City Cat about 3 weeks ago. The sun was going down behind all the high rises. There was beams of light coming across. There was reflections off the water. There was a little ferry trying to keep up with us. I got some footage of the bridge actually disappearing into the distance. Oh man, it was great. I love watching that stuff even after I sort of filmed it. And all I did, I actually got my camera bag on the back of the City Cat, and I placed my mobile phone on it really, really nice and carefully and firmly, and away I went. And the footage is really good. And there's like other little things that you can do.
Produce that video there, Mike. So yeah, no, that would be cool.
Yeah, really absolutely. Cool. Yeah. So there's good and bad movement. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Number 2.
Number 2, you really do need to be conscious of what's going on in the background, because if you want people to be watching what you want them to watch, you want to make sure that there's not too much going on in the background. You know, I've done quite a lot in the early days. I used to shoot stuff in the kitchen, and there'd be an overflowing bin in the corner, you know, and you just don't want that to, you know, you just don't want that. So just be conscious of that background.
I used to do videos in my backyard, little backyard insights, I called them. And, you know, we had a couple of puppies, and every now and again, well, there was one particular time where the puppies were being a little bit too friendly, let's say, in the background, which was, you know, funny, but maybe not getting the right message across. So number 3.
Number 3, okay, so we're still on the things that you can control quite easily about video. So we've done movement and background, and then we're talking about lots of light, okay? Now, you really do need to think about that one. You know, if you've got time, if it's not something that's a spur of the moment type of stuff, and it's not just shoot from the hip, if you think about the time of the day when you're actually going to shoot, if you think about the room that you're in, I've actually got some natural light happening here from, you know, just from the side of me here. So just think about light. You can never really get enough light. Natural light is the best thing to shoot.
Me too. You see, we actually think about these things. Yeah, awesome.
The next one is sound, which gets a little more tricky because with mobile phones, some of them are good and some of them are not so good. You can actually get radio mics that you can clip onto your lapel. So we're starting to get into an area that's a little bit technical there. But I can tell you there's a lot of research that says that people will put up with relatively poor footage, but if the sound is hopeless and the sound is important in the context of the video, they really won't watch it for very long. So sound is really quite interesting. The one thing I could say is just think about the location that you're in when you're recording a video. If you're standing right by the sea, say, you're probably going to hear the crashing waves more than your voice.
Now, you can solve this problem really cheaply, really quickly, really easily. I know that I went to Video Pro. I got a little Rode lapel mic. It did cost about $70. They're not dirt cheap to get a good quality one. Cost about $70, but it picked up my voice, but didn't pick up a lot of that ambient sound at all, which was really, really cool. And then I got a 6-meter extension cord, which is really ridiculous, but it meant that I could be a long way away and you would still get awesome sound if I wanted to do that. So, and once again, these things aren't hellishly expensive. If you're looking at landing $1,000 client to invest, you know, $150 on a better quality sound, you know, that could be the thing that makes or break that. So it's not, you can get a pretty good return on investment when you think about that. So I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And there's one last thing.
The final thing is content. What is it that you're actually going to shoot? A lot of people I work with go, well, you know, this is all well and good, but pick the camera up and go, well, what should I do? So I put you together a little one here that just uses the word blast to come up with some ideas. So things like behind the scenes, showing people what goes on behind the scenes of your business. Go and talk to a local business. I actually got my car service around the corner and these guys did a great job. And whilst I was there, I shot some footage for them. I got some photography and I've actually got that to use as a blog post and all the rest of it that I do with things on my Top Nosh page. You can do a day in the life. You know, I went out with a driver and a GoPro on a really bad windy day. And we did all the deliveries and we did a load of footage, sneak peeks, a look again at some products that are coming out. And finally, tips and advice, you know, what things, I mean, I just do simple things like, you know, great passwords or great techniques for remembering passwords because people have got so many passwords. And I just did a little video on a technique that I've used for ages to just remind me or create and remember great passwords. So blast. Little tips there.
So that's fantastic. So there's 5 things. So movement, backgrounds, lots of light, sound, content, and then with your blast, you're behind the scenes, local business, you know, interview a colleague, interview one of your customers. You know, let your customers talk for you is always a good thing and can promote them as well as promoting you at the same time. A day in the life, a sneak peek, and tips and advice. Mike, that is awesome. That helps people. The one thing I want to encourage people, if you feel that you're going to be nervous doing a video, just get your first 50 done. It sounds counter-cyclical, but the reality is I know that when I first got in front of a camera, I was hopeless. I could hardly talk. I was stammering and everything else. And I actually find it really funny because if I'm trying to shoot video footage that can be edited, I'm hopeless. But when I get in front of a live camera, I know that I can't stop and I've just got to play theatre sports. Whenever I stuff up, I just got to keep going. So, you know, I'm just going to encourage you to get out there and do it. A bad something is always better than a complete nothing.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the thing is, If you do a bad something in 5 years' time, you're not going to be doing a bad something anymore. If you don't do it in 5 years' time, you're not going to be doing anything at all. So are you going to look back in 5 years' time and say, I should have done a bad something 5 years ago?
Absolutely. One of my good mates, a really good mate of mine, did actually confess to me the other day. We were out and having a drive somewhere, and he said, look, Kevin, I got to say, those videos that you used to do, they were crap. But now you're not too bad. So I've gone from crap, I've gone up to not too bad. So, hey, there's hope for all of us. Mike, only good friends will tell you that. Mike, I want to thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your stuff. You've actually got a link which has these tips, and in fact, you've got a little video series about this, yeah?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've actually put together a little 4 short lessons, and it looks at how you can film your own property to use as a sales piece. There's 7 short videos within there. It's not something that's going to take you 3 weeks to get through or anything like that. It's nice and short. I don't waffle on about anything. There's 3 PDF downloads, and the first 2 lessons are a free preview. So you're basically getting half the course before you would even think about buying the rest. It comes in at $29, and yeah, I'd love you to pick up the information and let me know what you think.
It's really a try before you buy, and you can see if this is something. And although you're teaching about doing a property because you want to sell your own property, I understand. But even though you're doing that, if people take the story out of it and look at the content, then they're actually going to find that this applies to all types of videos.
Yeah, the knowledge in there is transferable to a personal trainer, to a restaurant owner, to somebody in a pub. It's not specifically just for selling your house. I'll show you all the different sliding techniques and panning techniques that I use, and you don't need anything at all other than some good natural light, your mobile phone, and ideally a stylus for your screen, which you can pick up for literally a couple of dollars. So it's completely technical free and cost free in terms of equipment.
There you go. So look, Mike, thanks very much for coming along today. I really enjoy having a chat with you. Every time I speak to you, I do learn something, and I'm really excited about that. So thank you very much for your tips today. The other thing that we learned was, yeah, my dog's a little bit inappropriate to your fence every single morning. I'm so glad you're moving, and now I won't have to feel guilty about that. Now that I know.
Yeah, we've never met in person, but we're sure we'd know each other when we do.
250 metres away down the road, Mike lives, and we don't bump into each other in our suburb. Thanks very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, Kev.